What's going on, folks? Happy Thursday, whatever day it is. Last class day. What's going on, folks, in Game Plan for Winning at Life? People out there on the internets, bored people, old people, young people. Happy to be here. Last day of Game Plan for Winning at Life. What's up? I'm going to wave at a couple of folks. How are y'all doing? Hope you're doing well. Give me a heart. Give me one word on how your life is going right now. Sweet. People are pumped. I like it. I like it. I like it. Good morning. Good morning. Hey, look, and maybe it's day 4, day 40. I don't know what day it is. I'm sitting in my wife's closet, loving life. Hey, listen, here's the thing. None of us signed up for this. This is not the way that we wanted to see it all go down, but such is life. You make it work. You make it work. I went from, a period of time where I was trying to make everything perfect and beautify everything. And this is what we're going to do. We're just going to make it work. We're going to make it work. So this is my last class day. So I've got 150 students in Game Plan for Winning at Life. Some are here, some are not. Hey, look, wherever you are in the world, with whomever you are in the world, I'm hoping and praying that your family members and your loved ones are doing well. Next thing I want to say is this. This was not the college experience you signed up for when you agreed to come to the University of Texas in fall of 19. But I'll tell you this, just like the generation that went through the Great War, World War II, 9/11. This is going to leave you with some scars, most definitely, but those scars are going to make you a better person. They're going to give you some narratives and a foundation for life that you can pass on to future generations. So I know it's tough. There's a lot of conflicting sort of information out there, what we can and can't do. One thing I'm going to say is this: you just be safe for you. Whatever the best decision is for you and your family and your loved ones and all the people around you, you do what's best for you. Now, here's what I'm going to also say is that it's not my first time going on live, but it's the first time having a class on live. So the thing I'm going to say is, hey, look, if something goes wrong, who cares? Such is life. That's the way it goes down. But we'll have fun. Throw some questions at the end. I'm going to give you 7 things to do before you live. This is typically my last lecture in class on campus, but we're doing it virtually and we'll get it done. So I'm happy to see all of you. Keep smiling, keep singing, keep being happy, keep shedding light. Okay, the first thing we're going to do, that's what we do for every class. I want us to take some time to breathe. All right, just take some time to breathe. So just in through the nose, out through the mouth. We want to push our shoulders to the sky. I love it. I love it. The way we started the semester, we talked about the research behind breathing, all the things that it does for you. One of the lifelong skills and traits and love affairs that you should cultivate should be this infatuation with breathing. It's a practice that I found too late. It's something that we all do, but not many of us practice. Obviously, it's what we need for survival, but the act of intentionally breathing. And I heard this great talk. I can't remember who said it, but the woman said, my goal is to intentionally breathe once per day, right? So we've talked about the research behind big goals, and oftentimes when we set these big lofty goals, I'm going to breathe 5 times a day, once in the morning, twice, once before and after lunch. When we get too convoluted, we don't get anything done. We don't accomplish what we need to accomplish. And so her goal was just to breathe intentionally, right? Intentionally breathe once per day. Pick something that works for you. As a man with an incredible wife and 5 wonderful kids and 3 jobs and 19 uncles and aunts, listen, I understand that in an overflowing inbox, I understand that life can oftentimes present us with situations that cause the anxiety and the stress levels to go, right? One of the tools that we have to push back against that is breathing. So from here on out, whether you're 18 or 81, for the sweet love of all that is right with the world, let's breathe. Let's breathe. Number 2, gratitude. So we always start class with 2 practices, breathing and gratitude. I know a lot of you are on your phones watching this session. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. Okay. I want you to think about someone who's done something kind for you. Step 1. Number 2, I want you to commit to yourself that you will send him or her a DM, text, email. You'll strap a message to a pigeon and send it in flight, whatever it is. And I'm not going to even ask you to write a personalized note because I know that humans are lazy, including yours truly. So I know that's a high bar, but before the end of the day, before midnight in whatever time zone you live, please, 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 just send that note of gratitude to someone else. So the thing about gratitude is, and this is where I'm going to get into a recap of the semester. Here's the content that we've started, that we've learned during the semester. The arc of our story has been this. We start with Brené Brown, with vulnerability and empathy. Vulnerability, this concept, this notion that in the past has been interpreted as weakness, right? So when we've asked CEOs, nonprofit leaders, military leaders, what's the first word that comes to your mind when you hear the word vulnerability? Over 80% of them, weakness, weakness, weakness. And what I think Dr. Brown does so beautifully is she reframes and restructures that thought process and starts to position vulnerability as a strength. She's also very honest in saying this is hard stuff, right? This is tough stuff. We all love to see vulnerability from other people. Personally, we don't like to express it, right? It's great when we see it in small doses. We're like, wow, this person's vulnerable, right? Because it creates connection. It creates connection. It humanizes us in a way that allows other people to know that we are frail and unsure and uncertain and all the things. Right? But we don't express it. So we start with vulnerability. We move to empathy. Empathy is this willingness, the ability to take the perspective of someone else, to get into someone else's shoes. They don't have to look like you, may not live in the same zip code, different hair color. They worship in different places. They shop at different grocery stores. But empathy says, I am going to exhibit the courage to try to narrow the gap between all of these differences the world has told us. And I want to step in your shoes and just seek to understand. And what empathy asks of us is not to agree, but to strive to understand where the other person is coming from. That was the beginning of the semester. Brené Brown, vulnerability and empathy. Then we migrated over into gratitude, the research behind gratitude, how good it is for us. Gratitude does several things. Gratitude lowers our stress levels, but it also has these side effects of increasing all of the health indicators that are good for us. And the reason why we posited this, right? Our theory is, listen, once you show yourself and others that you're grateful for what you have, you tend to want to preserve that. So if I'm grateful for life, if I'm grateful for getting up, if I'm grateful that everyone in my home woke up this morning, if I'm grateful for the use of my limbs, if I'm grateful to have a car that I can drive, even though I can't go anywhere, if I'm grateful for all of these things, it causes me to have a different type of appreciation for life. I tend to eat better. I tend to hydrate. I tend to work out, even if it's for 20 minutes or 10 minutes. I tend to do the things to preserve what I'm grateful for. That's gratitude. Self-compassion, Kristen Neff, University of Texas, self-compassion. If at any time in life we need to practice self-compassion, it's now, right? So self-compassion says, listen, I'm not isolated from the world. These feelings that I have of despair and anxiety and disappointment, they are not particular to me. So like Brene Brown, what self-compassion does is it creates this connection between us and others, right? We're not in a silo, and we start to forgive ourselves. We start to forgive ourselves. And one of the great studies she did was, putting two people together, asking one person to console the other person based on something that happened. And then they asked the person, right, to console themselves in a way, right? To write down how you feel about a certain situation that happened to you. And what you'll notice is, and I'm going to get to this later too, what you'll notice is we oftentimes use language that is kinder and gentler with other people than we do with ourselves, right? We're cognizant of our language and the effects of our language when it relates to other people, more so with others than with ourselves, right? So this is important because we have to have the willingness and the courage to forgive ourselves. I have a micro-win system. Pick 3 things. 1 thing for work, 1 thing for family, 1 thing for health. Every single morning, strive to get those 3 done, track them at night. And I've been going 2 for 3. I've been going 1 for 3. And at the end of the night, it's easy to get this feeling of, I failed. I'm not living up to the things that I say that I believe in. I've had to practice self-compassion. Last point I'm going to say on self-compassion. Self-compassion is not at odds with accountability, right? So a lot of people will think about self-compassion and say, oh, self-compassion is sort of, letting yourself off the hook. No. What self-compassion does is it forgives you, right? You give yourself the opportunity to forgive yourself for what you have or have not done or how you feel. It's an extreme ownership of your own feelings. And remember this, emotions are data too. And in this data analytics, AI, VR, big data, little data, your emotions are data. Your emotions are pieces of information that your body is sending to your mind to let you know how you feel. Let's not run from it. Let's not hide from it. All right? All right. So from self-compassion, then we get into deliberate practice. Jeff Colvin's book, Talent is Overrated. Self-compassion. Deliberate practice. Deliberate practice. Here's the thing I want to just some highlights. There's no genetic predisposition for success. There's no, oh, she is just so good at that. Oh, he is just naturally gifted at that. You've heard of the 10,000 hour rule. You've heard of deliberate practice. Here's the main thrust of the book. If you want to get better at something, if you want to achieve an elite status, and here's the big thing I want to say. A lot of people want to talk about it. Very few people want to do it. Like a lot of people are comfortable saying they want to be great at something. Very few people are willing to be uncomfortable on the road to becoming great. It sounds good in tweets and Instagram stories. It hurts like hell in practice. It sucks. It sucks to get up early. It sucks to hit the pavement. It sucks to write the 9th draft of a manuscript. It sucks to have someone tell you that you got to go over and redo the reps Got to do it again. It sucks to have customers walk out on you, right? All these things suck. And so most people don't like that because why? Hey, your body wants to preserve you. If there's one thing the brain wants to do is it wants to preserve your life. And in order to preserve you, it's going to try to keep you away from things that are hurtful and painful. That's where the growth happens, though. Those neurons, right? Those synapses that haven't fired before. When we start doing new and crazy and different things, lightning starts to occur in those synapses. And the only way that those things are going to fire if you start doing shit outside of your comfort zone. That's the truth. Yes, I use some profanity on a Thursday. Write me up. So, such is life. Deliberate practice. Some keys on deliberate practice. You got to get feedback. So listen, here's one thing that I do. Whenever I'm starting a new venture, I identify what is the skill set that I need. So I'm trying to become a really, really good writer right now. So I go to people. I pick 3 types of people to go to for advice. First, I want to find a person who's a damn good writer, period. He or she doesn't have to be nice. He or she doesn't have to be friendly. He or she just has to be willing to give me some feedback on my writing. So I have a person who writes very well, and I'm constantly taking my writing to her and say, what do you think? How can I improve? What do you think about the sentence construction? What about the introduction? What do you think about the third point? What do you think about the white space? How I'm spatially presenting this thing? You got to get deep with someone who's an expert. That's one person. Second person, I always like to include in my circle of feedback the naysayer. Right now, I'm the person who oftentimes begrudges the naysayer. I'll call them out. There is some value to having some person who's somewhat negative because I also want someone to poke holes in my plan. Doesn't mean I'm going to listen to them in terms of taking their advice and not doing the thing, but I like people who are negative in small doses, right? I like to get at least one person because this person will identify all of the reasons why the thing won't work. Then I just take my idea back to the lab and I fix them. All right. The subject matter expert, the naysayer. Now I want to get someone who's positive. All right. Now I want to get someone who's positive. You need somebody pumping you up. Now, sometimes that has to be you. Right? Like I wake up every morning and I tell myself, listen, I am my own hype man. Regardless if my wife tells me I'm great today, regardless if my dean tells me I'm great today, regardless if someone sends me a random message via Gmail saying, Derek, you changed my life. If I don't get all of that every day, the one thing I'm going to get is Darren pumping himself up. Not in a delusional way, but in a belief that I have everything that I need right now to be really damn good at what I want to do. All right. So the feedback's important. Small steps are key. Okay. I want to go through 7 things that you should do before you live. 7 things that you should do before you live. And thanks for all of your great comments. I appreciate it. Tony talks about being terminally optimistic. I love it. I love radical optimism. Not to be confused with delusion. Because I'm also very honest with myself when I'm not doing what I said I would do. I practice some self-compassion, but then I say, Darren, how do we get back on track? How do we get back on the horse? Do you need a break, Darren? Yeah. Okay, take a break from running. Okay, take a break from writing. Let's get back at it the next day, right? Do you need some time away? Okay, let's do that for a short period. Let's get back to it. Okay, I've got 7 pieces of advice. I realized something with Instagram Live is going to be, backwards to you, but whatever. I'm going to read it to you anyway. Number one. Don't let college keep you from learning. Woo! Coach Rob said to him one more time. Do not let college keep you from learning. Here's the truth. I'm a big fan of higher education. I'm a big fan of education in general. One downside to education, and we're seeing this during COVID, is that it creates some laziness if you're not careful. Because what happens? You go to a course schedule. You look at the courses. You pick and choose from a menu. You sign up. You go sit in a class. You listen to someone lecture. You take some quizzes and some tests. You hope for an A. You move on. This is not the way to learn. And the people who are infatuated with success have the uncanny ability to create their own personal syllabi. Let me say that one more time. The people who have an ability, who are elite performers, the successful people that I know, they have the ability and the desire to create personal syllabi. And this is what I mean. You will leave college at some point. The obligation will be on you to put yourself through a system of learning that helps you to get from point A to point B. I don't care what major you're in, computer engineering, business, social work, English, whatever it is. Once you leave college, now the onus is on you to find the books, the articles, the videos, the conferences, the podcasts, whatever they may be. You now have to construct a syllabus for yourself. And most people don't do it. So please, please, please listen. Don't let college keep you from learning. From this point forward, from the day that you graduate, wherever you may be, you will find yourself in need of learning a new thing or getting better at something that you're already doing. Take the obligation and the responsibility to create your own personal syllabus for success. Number 2, stay tactile. Stay tactile. Flip your screen right now. Okay. Stay tactile. Stay tactile. Stay tactile. What do you mean, coach? Listen, this is an electronically, technologically driven world. One of the reasons why I don't let people use computers in class is because I want you to get tactile. Great research behind when you put pen to paper, pencil to paper, the uptake in terms of your understanding and knowledge and retention goes up. These devices we have are great. I'm not the old guy in the corner of the room saying it used to be so good back in the 90s when you didn't have, accessible cell phones. They're great. But one thing I want to say is you need to get tactile. Write personal notes to people. Put a stamp on an envelope. Send it. It will have 10 times the value of an email. Why? Because people don't get mail they like. You get bills. We get bills. I check my mail probably once every 3 days. Why? Because I don't care that Randall's is having a 2-for-1 sale on sides of beef. All right? But writing. There is an art. There is a beauty in putting pen to paper. Do it. Get tactile. Number 2, this is for your parents. Disappoint your parents. Disappoint your parents. Let's get into this. Disappoint your parents. I'm a parent of 5. So before y'all start atting me, I don't want to hear it. Okay, I have kids. I get it. This is what I mean. As long as your decision is not immoral. Okay, I'm going to just say that because y'all are like, all right, find me in the club. That's not what I'm saying. Every generation has had to look back to the previous generation and make a journey of departure. Okay? By this, I mean, I'm 41 years old. I grew up under a certain mindset. And the thing is this, my parents love me and I love them. But there have been different points in my life where I've had to understand that a course of action, i.e., graduating from law school and then going to be an unpaid intern with the Chiefs, a course of action would somewhat disappoint my parents. the courage to do that when your gut is telling you this thing that you want. You want to be a videographer, but you got an offer on the table from McKinsey. And a lot of people will say, oh, hey, listen, go to McKinsey. Just go for 2 or 3 years. You'll always come back around to it. What I tell you every day, we're going to die. And here's the crazy part about death. You don't know when it's going to happen. So I'm always reluctant to listen to people when they try to tell me, oh, go ahead and do this thing and then circle back, because who knows if I get the circle back. I don't know. A lot of people who started 2020, they thought they would make it to the end of 2020, and unfortunately they're not, right? So this brings an immediacy to the issue. We got to do this stuff now. The most common conversation that I have with students, one-on-one, when they come to me, freshmen, sophomores, seniors, juniors, post-grads, whatever it may be. Coach Roberts, man, I really want to do this thing, but mom and dad sent me to school to be a lawyer, a doctor, an accountant, a nurse, whatever it may be, right? I told them I was going to be a teacher, all these things, but I really want to do this thing. I want to do videography. I want to make apps. I want to be a photographer, right? I want to be a writer. And the number one thing I say to people is, listen, here's one person you're definitely going to die with. You. We can count on that one. Now, I don't know about the people who are around you. Who knows? You will die with you. I am going to die with me. That's real. And so the one thing that I don't want is to have regrets, because I chose a path in order to make other people happy. If your gut's moving you in a direction and it's right for you and it's not immoral, I'm not asking you to go out and start a cocaine ring. All right. Let's just be clear about that. This is really talking about life, your craft, a certain profession. Don't be afraid to disappoint your parents. And here's the thing I know. If whatever the thing is that you choose lights you up, all is well. And if they love you, all is well anyway, right? So look, I'm already prepared. I have 5 kids, 3 boys, 2 girls. I'm already internally prepared for them to come to me with some conversations that will disappoint me. Like, oh man, but I thought you were going to be this. That's why I try to not project what I think my kid's going to be. I don't even talk about what you're going to be. I always ask them, who are you going to be? Right? Like, who do you want to be? Not what do you want to be, because what is a confining term, right? It's a confining term. But if I ask you who you want to be, now I'm asking for adjectives, right? I'm asking for adjectives. I'm asking for your state of being. Who do you want to become? Who do you want to help? How do you want to help people? They're going to disappoint me. There are going to be some things they come to me and they're going to say, hey, I want to go do this. I want to go do that. And I'm going to have to listen to this lecture in my head and say, you know what? I want you to be happy. Do you? And if you don't have parents who are willing to do that, and Lord knows I love parents, you got to do it. Number 4, I want you to eavesdrop on your mental chatter. I want you to eavesdrop on your mental chatter. I want you to eavesdrop on your mental chatter. I know it's backwards. I don't care. Constantly listening. I want you to constantly listen to the voices in your head. Listen to the way that you respond to yourself when you have thoughts. Man, I wish I could start a business. Here comes a head. You don't have enough capital. Man, you know what? I really want to go back to law school. I want to go to law school. You're too old. You know what? I could make movies. Like I like videography. I've been doing this for. You don't know enough people. Eavesdrop on the mental chatter that's running through your brain. And I constantly have to stop myself and say, hold up, Daron. Hold up. I am not going to allow this self-defeating story to take over my life. Self-defeating stories, SDS, self-defeating stories. Your brain and psyche will rummage through the mental Rolodex for examples and episodes from your life to negate your dreams and goals. And the good question is, what do I mean by eavesdrop? I want you to listen in on yourself. So, oftentimes we think there's just one voice in our head. If you actually just listen to your brain, like as you're walking, as I'm running, for example, as I'm running, this morning I ran 4 miles. I did not want to be out there. I ran 9. I'm lying. I ran 7 yesterday. My body was hurting. So on mile 2, I knew once I hit the 50% mark, it was going to be rough. Mile 2, I'm listening to my brain. My body said this: you're already ahead this week. Why don't you turn around? You're already ahead this week. Why don't you stop? Save your legs a little bit. It's too hot out here. So I will listen to what my brain tells me. Then I have to talk back to myself. Now I'm gonna go ahead and push through it. I don't have that much farther, I don't have farther to go. It's not that hot out here. It was hotter yesterday. So I'm constantly talking to myself in my brain to push back against all the negativity. That's what I mean by eavesdrop. I want you to listen in onto the conversation in your brain and say, what am I telling myself? Because when you start having ideas and dreams and goals and all the things, here's what's going to happen. You will tell yourself, hey, I could do that. And then your brain will say, hey, well, remember that time you didn't set up that LLC back in 89? You're like, yeah, that's right. I did quit that. Yeah, I probably can't do it. And you'll say, hey, I want to get a master's in writing. That'd be awesome. Your brain comes back. Hey, remember that time back in senior year in English? Your teacher told you that you weren't a good writer? Damn. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't do that. Self-defeating story. You got to listen to your brain. I'm constantly at war with myself. For example, when the alarm goes off, woo! Talk to me, somebody. Here's my brain. Just give it 15 more minutes. Hey, listen, the brain is tricky now. You will trick you. Hey, just give it 15 more minutes. But I already know, man, but I got a tight schedule. I'm supposed to be running, writing, teaching, writing some more. Just slip on 15 minutes. Hit that snooze button. You know what happens with the snooze button. You hit the snooze button and close your eyes like 15 minutes, like time warp. Like, damn, what happened? All right, bam. Hit it again. So here's what happens. 4:30 turns into 5:30. 5:30 turns into 6:30. 6:30 turns into 7:30. Now you're behind. Now what happens? Now you get up, you're frustrated. I'm yelling at kids. I'm throwing cereal at them. Hey, y'all just catch them in your mouth. Let's go, right? All I'm saying is this. You have to push back against the negativity in your brain. Boom. It's like, wake up at 5:30. Alarm goes off. Hey, just get 15 more minutes of sleep. No, I'm just going to go to bed 15 minutes earlier tonight. That's also why a couple of things I do. I set all of the things I need for the next day out the night before. People talk about morning routines. Morning routines are overrated. You know what we need? Night routines. You know why? Because if you set everything out at night, I know what clothes I'm going to wear the next day. I don't give myself any kind of decision. What should I wear? I picked this last night. I'm not changing. I put my workout clothes at night. I put a glass of water by my bed at night so I can hydrate as soon as I get up. I set my shoes at night, my socks, boom, boom. I've got everything set up. And you know the reason why? Because I don't want to hear my brain tell me, but I don't even know if we have the right yoga pants. I don't wear yoga pants. I do. I like Lululemons. Anyway, I don't know if we have the right running pants. But I don't know where my shoes are. But I don't know where my socks are. Set all of that up at night. No more excuses. Now when I wake up, boom. The next thing you got to do is you got to visualize at night what you want to see in the day. Talk to me, boy. You have to visualize at night what you want to see in the day. As I'm closing my eyes and drifting off into the unknown, I am visualizing me writing 500 words the next day. Like I see myself in the closet. Like here's the closet, cut the lights on. I see myself in the closet writing. That's at night. You know what's crazy too? When you start to get fixated with your own success and visualizing it, watch how your dreams change. Watch. Watch when you start changing your thought process. So my night routine, set all my things out, right? I express my 3 things of gratitude for the day. I pray. When I lie in bed, I am starting to visualize the next day and what's going to happen. Watch your dreams change. In my dreams now, what's happening is I'm now thinking about different articles to write. My dreams are now starting to collude with me to be successful the next day. What? You know why? The subconscious needs to be fed. When I start feeding it positive, and look, I'm not one of those, there's a lot of positive people like, just be positive, keep your face to the sunshine. No. Life's tough. I know positivity, it's difficult. But what I'm saying is, when you start feeding that kind of content into your body, right? You start feeding that, man, your dreams start conspiring with you. Like Coelho talks about, Paulo Coelho, The Alchemist, one of my favorite books of all time. I read it once every year. He talks about the universe starting to conspire, right? Once you start moving in the right direction. Try that. Number 5. This may make some of y'all upset, but such is life. This is my class. I want you to remember the people you haven't missed during the lockdown. Oof. 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 Remember the people you haven't missed during the lockdown. During this lockdown. I want you to remember the people you haven't missed. Let me tell you something about crises. Have you seen the numbers on pollution? Pollution's gone down. You want to guess why? Because people aren't going anywhere. We're not jumping in our Tahoe. I got a Tahoe. I'm a polluter. Right? We're not moving around. Crises have a way of winnowing away the things that we really don't need. Think about this. Be honest with you. Be honest with yourself. You haven't really had the freedom of mobility that you've had in the past, right? Has your life really changed all that much? Now, I understand that there are some people who are dealing with ailments and with COVID-19, so I'm not minimizing that. But for those of you who have not been affected personally from this, and I know emotionally we're dealing with a lot, there are some ways that our lives have changed for the better. Like, for example, not having to drive to work and make that 45-minute commute that should be 20 has me thinking about time. Like, well, why do I spend 2 hours a day in my car driving? Why? Relationships. I haven't seen some people in 2 months. Did I miss them? Now, I remember the point was, remember the people you haven't missed. So there are some family members and some friends that you have missed. Remember those people. You missed those people. Those are probably relationships that you want to continue to cultivate and nurture. But there are some toxic people who were in your life before COVID-19 that now that you've been cut off from them, you've gotten better. Talk to me, somebody. COVID-19 has kept you from contacting some people who were toxic, who are toxic. Don't go back to them post COVID-19. Number 6, spend more time with people who are going to be at your funeral. Woo! Spend more time with people who are going to be at your funeral. Listen, Listen to me. I went to a funeral. It was the middle of 2018. A good friend, a mentor to me. She was a woman who had a lot of access to power, right? So I used to work for her when I worked for a state senator. Now, during my time in working in her office, I saw a lot of lobbyists and state senators and business people come in, and because she had access to the state senator and the lieutenant governor, they came in and they were so kind, and they sent Christmas cards and those cheesy edible bouquets, all the things. I looked around the church during her funeral. You could count on one hand the people in that category who were sitting in the seats. Now, this is what I'm going to say. Some of these people won't be there at the end. The people who will be there because they really cared, I want you to think about those people. I want you to think about those people. And I'm even evaluating this because I have failed to cultivate some relationships and spend some more time with people, if even through Zoom or the phone, that I should, because they care about me. I care about them. But sometimes I let my 5 kids and all the busyness get in. Like, I need to do a better job at that. Think about those people who are going to be at your funeral. And finally, while we're on this topic, I want you to write your eulogy. I want you to write your eulogy. This is an assignment in class, and I decided to nix this assignment. It's an assignment that I've had for the past 4 years. It's the last assignment that students do, and they write their own eulogy. And I thought, because of all that's going on right now, this was not a timely assignment, and there could be some complications around it. So the students in my class don't have to write it this semester, but for all of you in class, for those of you around the globe, spend some time working on your own eulogy and make it simple. Break it into micro wins. Don't write the eulogy, just write the introduction. Just spend 1 week writing the introduction. And the thought behind this experiment is, think about how you want to be remembered, right? We only have a finite amount of time on the planet. Finite. Time is a finite resource. You know what else COVID has taught me? Time is how you construct it. So I got wrapped up into Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and what happens? What COVID-19 has taught me is that days of the week, those are human constructions, right? Hump day, that is a human construction. Monday, the weekend, Friday, these are man-made things. And what we've done is we've associated days of the week with our own energy level. Oh man, I'm going to be crunk on Friday, but hit the club. I haven't been in a club in like 7 years. So for those of you who are going to start chopping up content, I haven't been to the club, but I'm ready for the weekend. All Monday, I'm just going to slide in. I'm just going to chill on Monday, take it easy, kind of ease back into it on Monday. Wednesday, let's push a little bit. Let's make that final push, right? Sunday, let me get depressed about having to go back to work. So we've built all of these different, like, this is the way that we're going to be, okay? Like, I'm going to act this certain way on this certain day. You know what COVID-19 taught me? Today is today. The only way I know it's Thursday is because it's class. I'm talking to y'all, right? Today is today. Today is today. I go to church on Sundays. In the Jewish faith, the Sabbath is a Saturday. We're all serving. We're all believing in something, right? We're all believing in something. So all of this is arbitrary. Please, for the sweet love of all that is right with the world, when we leave COVID, please reconstruct your life post-COVID. After World War II, Europe had to rebuild itself, right? After Vietnam, America had to rebuild itself, not from a necessarily infrastructure standpoint, but from an emotional, right? The psyche of the country had to be rebuilt. 9/11, the emotional psyche of the country had to be rebuilt. COVID-19, the emotional psyche of you as a human who is walking the planet will have to be rebuilt. And the people who are courageous enough to do that, right? The people who are courageous enough to do that, your life will be better. Shame on us. Shame on us if after COVID-19 we go back to business as usual. Shame on us. Shame on us. I've spent, with my kids alone, 5 kids. So I kind of have the mornings, but I kind of drop in and out of homeschooling sessions. And I'm like, man, I don't spend enough time with my kids normally. Shame on me if I go back to normal once the airplanes start flying again. Right? COVID-19 brought this opportunity for me to spend more time with my kids. I see how much they grow and I grow. Shame on me if post-COVID-19, I just go back to the pre-COVID-19 version of Daron. Shame on you too. Stephanopoulos, George Stephanopoulos, press secretary for Clinton, said something like this. You heard the phrase, never waste a crisis. And I'm paraphrasing, right? Who cares? You get the point. On a personal level, he was talking about the government and kind of using crises to do certain things. Don't let the COVID-19 crisis be a waste in your personal life. Don't let it be a waste. Y'all got any questions? We got about 10 minutes. And I'm going to go help my my oldest son work on fractions. Any thoughts? Listen, I love all of you. I just love you because you're human. I love you because I think you want to get better. I'm also trying to get better. The one thing I always want to, I want you to know, I don't have it figured out, right? So what I speak to you are things that I've read, things that I think, things that I've been turning over. But at the age of 41, I am still turning ideas over in my head like a Rubik's Cube every single day. Like my brain is a community of Rubik's, so hard to say, Rubik's Cubes. And I am constantly twisting them to try to figure out what's the next best step. So I don't have it figured out, but I'll tell you one thing. Let's just continue to ask good questions. A couple questions. Will I keep the live up? Yeah, I'll keep the live up for 24 hours. I definitely will do that. What are your thoughts to having a plan B to a career? So here's what I want to say. I'm okay with contingency planning. I just know too many people who've built plan B stronger and better than plan A. Spend 80% on plan A and 20% on B, C, D, E, all the way up. Build the hell out of plan A and build it for success. And then when all else fails, go to plan B. Thank you so much, VF. I appreciate that. Casey, thank you so much. Casey, appreciate it. Thank you. Thank y'all for who aren't in the class. I appreciate it. Yeah. Good luck with the fractions. It's funny, right? Because I was pretty good at math. I mean, I wasn't a damn mathematician. I wasn't like a young Isaac Newton, but I was pretty good. But there are some things, with the dividing and the flipping and the reciprocals and then cross multiplication. I'm like, hold on, let me make sure I know what I'm doing. But it's been good for me, right? It's been good for me. Appreciate it, Haley. Thank you. And I enjoyed having you in class. Um, this class obviously is going to be memorable for a lot of reasons, but I hope that at least there were one or two things that were said that can help you on the journey. When can we expect the next book? Woo! I believe the great theologian Tupac said, it's a struggle every day. Got to roll on. I'm about to go on a tear starting May 1, which is tomorrow. The manuscript will be done by June 1. I'm going to live in this closet you see. This closet, the manuscript will be done by June 1. I'm going to fight with the publisher for a month. This thing's going to be out before the end of the year. I also have a kid's book coming out. It's called A Kid's Book About Empathy. It's coming out in June. I'll let you guys know. I just got the final, thumbs up, okay, all the sign-offs from the publisher. So a kid's book about empathy is coming out, and I'll let you know. Thank you so much. Des, thank you so much. I'm going to miss you also in class. Listen, for all those who are in class, at Coach DKR, Daron Roberts at gmail.com, Daron Roberts at utexas.edu. Like, listen, I'm available. I don't just say that. I'm writing 2 recommendations for former students right now that are due tomorrow. Anything. Thanks, Valerie. I appreciate it. Thank you, Nina. I appreciate it. Anything that that I can do, please let me know. And for all the students too, if you will please send a note of thank you to the TAs, Laura, Nina, Carmen. Those 3 women are incredible. I'm forever indebted to them, and I'm sad because I'm losing all 3 of them for the fall semester. But they've been incredible people. So please just send them a note and thank them for all that they've done. Oh, thank you, Carly. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks, Darby. I appreciate it. Don't forget, like, I'm on email. In the syllabus, all of you have my cell number. That cell hasn't changed in 17 years. Still got the 617. So let me know. Yeah, Laura's an awesome TA. She's incredible. I see you up there, Nina. Thank you. I also know that for students, they're going to send, normally I do the paper course instructor surveys in class, but they're sending you digital surveys. I keep getting emails about me reminding you to please fill them out. Please fill them out. Be honest. I listen to feedback. So, going back to our deliberate practice, I want feedback. So I want people to tell me how I can improve. So please fill those out. Let me know how I can improve. I'm constantly iterating this course for future classes. Appreciate it, May. I appreciate it. Got a former student. What's up, man? I see you. Could I post the slides for this class? Yeah, we'll figure out how to do that. What else? Well, thank you so much. Listen, I think you know how I'm going to sign off on this. No struggle, no progress. Stay in the deep end. Love all of you. Hey, man.